calling the military seizure of power a direct assault on Myanmar's transition to democracy, U.S. President Joe Biden issued a stern warning to the country's military leaders: reverse course or face economic sanctions.
We removed sanctions, the United States, I should say, removed sanctions on Burma over the past decade based on progress toward democracy. The reversal of that progress will necessitate an immediate review of our sanctions laws and authorities, followed by appropriate action.
The White House is calling on the international community to pressure Myanmar's military to immediately release detained officials and relinquish the powers it seized. The developments are a test for the fledgling Biden administration and the new Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who was sworn in last week. The top Republican in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, released this statement, pressuring the Biden administration to take a strong stand and urging U.S. partners and all democracies around the world to follow suit in condemning this authoritarian assault on democracy. When Biden was vice president, Barack Obama became the first sitting U.S. president to visit Myanmar. He praised its steps toward democratic and economic reform. Strict U.S. sanctions against the country were lifted when Myanmar transitioned to civilian rule. But U.S. support for Myanmar's government began to sour because of its discrimination against Rohingya Muslims that included a denial of citizenship. There were further concerns when civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi defended the military as hundreds of thousands fled as refugees. The foreign policy crisis comes as the Biden administration is struggling to deal with domestic issues like a depressed economy and unemployment due to the global COVID-19 pandemic that's cost roughly 450,000 Americans their lives.
It's still trying to get its sea legs. It's still trying to figure out what its foreign policies will be. And most importantly, it's very preoccupied with domestic crises. The Biden administration really wants to focus on the pandemic and on economic crisis at home and on racial tensions, and it really doesn't, I think it's not ready to have to confront a crisis like this.
The Biden administration faces a dilemma. Tough U.S. measures could push Myanmar's military rulers closer to China, a U.S. adversary, something the new president wants to avoid. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, Washington.